And we live. Welcome back to Unleashed Defiance with myself, Charlie, and the beautiful, gorgeous Ashley.
Hello.
Today, we are going to be talking about the dark night of the soul and the dragon. Um, it is February 10th today, which is the Chinese New Year, and it is the year of the dragon, and it's the wood dragon. So it's quite an auspicious day. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about the dark night of the soul because we've all had it. There's a lot of people that are experiencing their awakening at the moment, that a lot of people that are going through their own dark nights of the souls, that are questioning themselves, they're questioning their realities, they're questioning what it is that they're doing, and they're longing for more. Um, I'm also picking up some very dark, dense energy, keeping people locked in their suffering, which is also perpetrating their dark nights of the soul. So, yeah, that is our topic for today.
Yeah, there's a lot packed in there. Yeah, I've also been feeling that too. What you just spoke about, a lot of people wanting to do more, and um, something about things feeling like Groundhog Day, and whatever that means for you, like the same stuff is happening, or the same routine, the same patterns, same mental thoughts, and you're just like, what? Come on, I need
Like,
change. Like, what is
please,
this? Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. God, angels, help me.
Right, right. I've been picking up on a more masculine energy. Um, and we've talked about how, like, for me personally, when I'm feeling a certain thing, I'm grasping little bits and pieces of the collective that we work with, I work with individually. And yeah, there's a more masculine energy that's like really doing great, like doing their best, like pushing through stuff. But yeah, this just like frustration and this like, ugh, like, come on. So there's
Yeah.
some of us that are flailing, some of us that are pretty solid and grounded, but there's just that little hump we need to get over. We're all in a mix of different parts. Um,
Yeah.
not parts. We're in a different part of
Stages.
our awakening, of our dark night of the soul, and we're all feeling different things, but for the most part, it's all correlating.
Well, I mean, it does. Like, I mean, if you remember when you had your awakening, like, and then also that feeling of not feeling grounded, not feeling supported, feeling like you're going crazy, waking up at 4 a.m., constantly having these tough emotions, emotional outbursts, not being able to articulate what it is that you're feeling or that you're going through because you're scared people are going to think you're freaking crazy. Um, so the awakening process it's not a gentle process. It's really quite disruptive, disorganized, chaotic, very emotional. So for all of those that are experiencing that at the moment, my heart does go out to you because I know I've been there. And so has Ash. We've all had our moments where we've been literally on the floor crying, screaming out to angels, guides, and God, please, there's got to be more than this. Please, you know, help us. But it's you that's actually going to get you through your own awakening. Yes, your guides and God and the angels are there to support you, but it's really getting in touch with your higher self and your inner knowing that will get you through your awakening process a lot quicker. And it's tough because also don't forget when the awakening comes in and all of these raw emotions are coming up to the surface. This is what I like to call the dragon because it is these emotions, and the dragon's actually here to serve you, to release all the emotions of guilt, of shame, so that you can have total forgiveness of yourself. and move through the shame and the guilt and know that it's okay. You are exactly where you need to be. You're going to have good days and bad days. You're going to have days when you're going to cry your eyes out and you literally feel like you don't actually want to be on this planet anymore. Just don't give up. Don't give in to those feelings of darkness and despair, because there is light at the end of the tunnel and you do have the power to actually transcend it.
Hmm. It's it's a difficult thing to go through and process, and I do feel like a lot of people feel like they're on their own because there are a lot of people probably around them that do things very normal, very mainstream. These people are just living their lives as whatever, and then there are people like us going through these intense things because they're breaking barriers, they're breaking their own bounds, they're limiting beliefs, the structure that they have designed, or we're like, yeah, this is the way my life is, when it's like you're now unlearning, you're in the process of unlearning, and you're witnessing everything that's inside of you, perhaps emotions or mental anguishes that we've just stored and haven't really tapped into and looked at and gone deep in, because we've just been living in this rat race world where it's like perhaps you do a 9 to 5, maybe you're busy with family and friends, and now is the time for you to like hone it in and get down and dirty with like all of the shit within yourself. And it's not negative, it's not to place blame on you. Like, life happens, we grow up in certain societies, cultures, families, core people, um and we that's what we've been surrounded in, that's how we've learned, that's how we've done things, and now we're like, we're going on a different path. It's time to move forward and be grand and be bold, and whatever the things that you want to do, like it's in you, or how you want to be, it's in you. Now you're just unlocking all of the inner turmoil. And
That,
it's
that's
difficult to
been
like,
suppressed.
exactly. Thank you for saying that word, because here I am explaining it and you're like, it was suppressed. Like, yeah. But it can be really rad and nourishing for your soul to like be like, oh yeah, I have all this guilt and shame, and where did that come from? And like, do I really need to feel that? No. And like you just go through all of those things and back to being alone. Like, I know in the spiritual communities and stuff, and you see the pictograph or memes or whatever, that's like you're never really alone, and you aren't. But the reason that we're meant to maybe break away from the crowd in the mainstream, or that group of friends or family that we were always tied to, like, you are getting away so you can finally figure out what's going on in you, and you're doing this for you, and you're gonna possibly be in more of a hermit mode than you want to. And we are social animals, if you will, but the best moments were when I was like, oh, I wish I had someone, like, even to like lean on, literally like put my body into theirs because I'm feeling a lot. And it's like, but what was that feeling? Where did that come from? Why can't I just do things on my own and process and like get through it on my own, like, and that's what I've come to. Um,
Um,
and even friends that are going through stuff like this, like we have our moments where we're so like, oh my gosh, this is a heavy, intense thing. And then like, I notice as I mature in this, like, I don't need as many people to bounce things off of. And I share things when we connect, but like, yeah, it's becoming more level in my own being.
yeah.
And it gets easier. It gets easier.
It does. It gets so much easier, and especially when you do go within. And yes, unfortunately, the awakening is quite a lonely journey at times, because you will lose family, you will lose friends. Those people, they actually play a part of your awakening process. But unfortunately, they're not meant to go with you on the rest part of your journey, because coming into the awakening, and then from the awakening, when you're going from awakening into realization, where we are now, um, And this is an internal thing. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. This is you getting in touch with who you are, your being. And these are your emotions, your experiences, your guilt, your shame. It's nobody else's. And that does tend to become quite a lonely journey. But there are groups and places where you can go where you can share your experiences, but ultimately at the end, you do have to do it on your own. Nobody else can do it for you, which is a bit tough at times, and it can get a little bit lonely, but it is also having that in the back of your mind that this is actually why you came here. You came here for your awakening and for your realization. And the more you step into it and the more you own it, the more you let go of the limited beliefs and the limited nature of this reality and step into the limitless being of who you really are, then, beautiful conscious people come into your realm and reality, and things just expand out, and your circle expands out with people that are on the same path, that are also going through the awakening and the realization, and who are enjoying this journey, who've gone through the dark nights of the souls and are able to support you, which is phenomenal. I've met when I was going through my awakening, it was amazing. The teachers would always show up at the right time. The people that were there to support me for the next level, for the next up level, would always come in at the right time. I never used to have to look for them. They would just naturally gravitate.
That's beautiful. I kind of had the opposite experience where because of just what I've dealt with and witnessed and took on and all of that, my unlearning was in a sense um really just being a hermit and only having like a select few people around, and then telling myself no, it's safe to be around people and new people. And then I would like step out of my own comfort zone and my bounds, and then I would be like too much in my head focusing on something else, and then I'd be able to redirect myself back to me and then be like, oh yeah, it would be really good to have this type of support in my life. And then like you said, it would show up. Like I had to recognize that I was in a different place and that I could have this support, because yeah, like I said, it felt like I did have people around and I had support, but it was never something to help me get to a next level. So my life, the dark night of the soul, was like really accepting I can help myself and I can also like reach out to others. It's safe too. And then I've had clients and people around me that I'm talking to just like randomly that are like, oh my gosh, you helped me be able to know that there is support and it's not just like
Yeah.
people wanting to be in your life just to do this or that or have fun or what, and you're like, that's not for me anymore. Like it's safe to branch out, it's safe to reach out. It's, I need to say that to a certain group of people that may be watching this.
Yeah. It is safe to branch out and reach out, and and it's safe for you to do it on your own as well. There's no right or wrong way of going through this, and I think the awakening and realization is a very personal experience. I mean, we've all have different backgrounds, different beliefs, different ways of doing things, but ultimately at the end of it, it is the journey back to self, you know? Regaining your own power, regaining your own confidence, and knowing that you can do it, that you are a limitless being and can create a phenomenal life for yourselves, full of juicy, delicious abundance. And you don't need to be locked in the suffering and in the desperation. And that even if things are really bad, Like if you might be going through an eviction process or things are falling apart, you're going through a divorce. These are all experiences that are here to assist you and to remind you that you need to look within and that you have the power and the knowledge to be able to transcend the current situation. And sometimes, this is when the dragon also comes in. And I like to say the dragon sometimes comes in to fuck shit up, because otherwise you would never have made that next step, that next up level. When the dragon comes in and scorches earth, because you're comfortable where you are, but along your path you've asked for the realization and for the awakening, but if you are still stuck in the comfort, then the dragon will come in and cause the destruction in order to make you move. And then you've just got to keep on, and this is the hardest part, is having trust in yourself and trusting that things are going to turn out better than you can ever imagine. When you just let it go, allow your soul and your being to literally take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If I may, I had a moment last night and I said that I was, in my mode, and I'm just like, whatever the fuck I'm feeling right now, I don't know what it is. The taste, the remembering of a taste or a feeling, sense and sounds of a certain place and time was coming up and all mixed in with feeling the spring. And, I was like, done with that. Whatever those feelings and emotions that were coming up from that past time that was correlating with this time. And I'm like, my soul just needs to like do whatever with it. So I literally just, do the visualization, and I can feel also in my body me like being like I'm done, and it's like being pushed out. And even in those moments, and you're like, when you're really stuck in the feeling or the mental state or whatever, and you're just like, some way, somehow, you let your body stop clenching or whatever, and you really
Yeah.
just, whoo, and you're like, okay, I know you don't like the word surrender, and I almost just said that. You're just not holding on to it anymore. You're like, it can lift, and your soul energy just like cleans and cleanses and, sweeps it up and wipes you up and mops you up, and like literally like the most powerful, easiest thing that you can create in your mind and your body all together to like let more energies flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we do
And
need the extra support of like a energy worker coming in and seeing what you cannot see, or witnessing and noticing what you are
exactly.
having difficulty. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this is why we're here. We're here to help people and to look at their blind spots. And obviously, because we can tap into the other realms and we can see things, and we extra sensitive and extra sensory and multidimensional, that we are able to see these other things that people can't generally see, and teach them how to allow their energy to serve them. And there was something that I wanted to say when you were talking. When you said, "Oh, when you get into the contraction mode,"
Mm-hmm.
because you can't be in expansion if you're in contraction. And this is what we tend to do when life, like, if, oh, I've got to pay this bill, I don't know where the money's coming from. Your whole being goes, ooh, and it contracts. So when it's in the contraction mode, you're not going to get the information to be able to expand out of that situation. This is when, and you've got to just open up and allow, and then you just allow your energy to come in and to serve you. Because also when we're going through the dark night of the soul, um, and we keep on fixating with our mind, and we get into those mind loops, because what we think about does create our reality. And the more we think these negative thoughts, oh, I'm not capable of doing this, this is a big disaster, how am I going to get out of this? Like, we literally solidify it and it gets locked in. Like, it comes into the gravity. But when we also start, rephrasing and then opening ourselves up into expansion mode. Oh, my pen's rolling off the sofa. We open up into expansion and allowing, the information comes on what you can do to be able to transcend the current situation and to outcreate this difficult phase of your life. And it's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal.
Yeah, so much. I even want to tap in and say, like, you're talking about the mind. Like, I will literally just be like, I'm pulling this cord out, I'm pulling this cord out, I'm done. Oh, something just actually came out when I did that. Let's clear that out for me. Um, yeah, I will literally be standing there in like that mode, and I'm like not breathing. And then I'm like, okay, breathe. Sometimes I even have to just I had to like put my body on my bed yesterday and like do some stretches to let the energy move out. And it's like whatever you need to do. It's not always like sitting there and meditating or like pulling the cords or the strands out of your mental state that are creating the loops, because I do feel like I've talked about before, sometimes I know I've surpassed a certain moment and the energy is just still there and it's still creating that like time loop that yeah. So like I do my own energetic releases. You see me, I'm just like, woo. Like I'm
Oh,
wrapping all of these strings around my finger. And I think I'm doing this so people just see like the weird things that they might like be like, oh, I'm brushing off all of the bad juju and the gunk. Like, yes, you are brushing off the bad juju and the gunk from your being when you're doing
no.
that and you're being silly. Like you're figuring out a way, but you're being silly.
Um,
Um, what else? Yeah, I don't know.
and
It
look,
was really
I love how you say you're being silly, because the more we get into the fun and the joy, like that's also expansion. and
yes.
and this, this life is glorious, it is fun, it is joyful, and energy work is hilarious. It's like, honestly, it can be such a beautiful game. Like for me, it's like when I'm on the bus, I walk into the bus and I snap my fingers. I'm like, energy on. I'm going to bench and shine. And then I sit on the bus and then I just send my energy out. I let it come through. It serves me first because it's my energy. I don't need to draw it in from anybody or the outside, because it's part of me, it's part of my consciousness, it's part of my being, it's part of my soul. It's my energy, it's here to serve me, it's here to attract all the wonderful beautiful things. But if when you in contraction mode, your energy can't serve you. And when you're going through the dark night of the soul and the dragon is there and you're crying your eyes out, this is when you've got to bath. Not like bath, but BARF. Breathe, allow, receive, and flow.
I love that. I was gonna be like, you mean like throw up? Because there have been
Yeah.
times where I've had energy purges that come in the physical that has not been as intense as it was when I was really in the nitty gritty dark night of the soul. Like weird shit can happen. And like I am
Yeah.
so grateful that I just knew that like there was one time you and I had reconnected and I was in kind of like a weird state, and I had a physical release after you and I had had a really good conversation, and I was like, oh shit, like
Well,
okay, it's a good thing I knew what that was. And because some
yeah,
people might be like,
because,
what's going on with my body?
oh, I gotta go to the doctor. I've got
Yeah.
gastro. And what it is, it's you've got like all this old gunk and all these old emotions which are trapped, which have been, you haven't been noticing them, or you've just suppressed them for so long that it's got to come out some way. So also when you go through the awakening process, you do go through physical symptoms. Like, I don't know if you've ever done ayahuasca or any of the teacher plants like Cambo or anything like that. But you
Personally,
know,
no.
when you do have like these huge purges, and because I'm a Cambo practitioner as well, and sometimes some of the gunk that comes out of my clients is black.
Oh, yeah.
And then I can notice, like, if they do the 3-month reset, like the first phlegm or gunk that comes out will be very dark, which means they've had a lot of intense emotion stored in the body. And then the second one that becomes a lot lighter. Then the third one becomes lighter. And it's a beautiful process. And the releasing, it can come out both ways. You never know. Sometimes you do need to go to the toilet and you can sit there for a while, because that's the body's way of releasing all of the stuff. The body is one of the most intelligent systems that we have. And it doesn't only just store stuff from this lifetime, it's epigenetics, there's ancestral, there's, stuff that we've brought in from our past lives as well, that are stored in our DNA. And this has all got to come out somehow. Because also, currently, I think at the moment, is while we are going through the awakening and going into our realizations in this lifetime, our souls from past lives are doing the exact same as well. Because currently, and especially now that we've entered into the time of the dragon, like this year is supposed to be a phenomenal year. There's going to be a lot of changes happening and a lot of shifts. So it's really important to listen to yourself and tap in and go within and release all this gunk, whichever way you need to do it. If you want to go on retreat and go sit with a shaman, go and do that. But the quickest way to freedom is to go within yourself. But there are so many beautiful healing modalities out there that can really assist at these times, especially the work that me and you do. When you're able to, like, because you sometimes see things on me that I can't see for myself because I'm so close to the situation, and vice versa. And working with an energy healer, because this is the new medicine, this is the new energy. We are moving away. Like, medicine does have its place, but this is our natural state. I mean, I healed myself from cancer purely with energy, diet, and Cambo.
And I was oddly going to say that I did an energy work session and soul healing work on someone, and they were going through chemo, and I could see all of the stuff from the chemo. Even though it was helping, it was the chemicals, it's in that person's body. So literally, like, I was like, all right, I'm done. And they're like, thank God, because I started to get a stomach ache. And they did. They released a lot of the stuff, and I can see what they were releasing. Chemicals that were in their body from the chemo, um, heartache and stuff like that. And they were getting a new refreshed energy because they actually started to witness that this experience they were having in their life was bringing them to a different place in their life. But they were like connecting with new and different people because of going through cancer, and then branching out and being like, what do I do, and what is this, like, how are other people like working through what they're going through? Like, this isn't easy. And yeah, I just, again, you might have been that person, or you might have a situation where like someone's doing energy work on you and something happens and you're like, I didn't like that, or whatever. Your body is shifting, you know? I've had someone that had like a little bit more pain in their body in a certain spot that was uncomfortable, and they actually were not happy with me. And I was like, this is energetic. Sometimes it's like, let's say it feels like the energy is being pulled out of you and there might be this discomfort and whatever, that's all it is, and just breathe through it, and like put on your big boy, big girl pants, whatever we want to say, and like do this for you, you know? What do we do for our kids? We just push through to do stuff for our kids even when we don't want to. It's like kind of like that, but you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
And not to scare
Yeah.
people, but just let you know, like anything can happen. You can cry afterwards,
You
you
can get
know?
angry, you can tap
Yep.
into anger, you can feel triggered, but that's all part of the dragon of you know, the unrelenting, unforgiving forgiveness of self. When the dragon brings up the guilt, the shame, the anger that has been repressed, and it will cause some discomfort, it will be triggering, but the release that you get afterwards is amazing. And then especially, when people start learning to use their own energy for them, let their energy serve them.
Expand. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And, something you kind of touched upon this a little while ago before we started recording. And, you literally have to just be like, no, like it's shitty right now, but it will get better, or I will feel better. Um, it's like the roller coaster, like a build up, or you're going up and down, and then you finally have some smooth sailing for a moment. Um, like I just want to be like, it's all good. You'll get by.
Oh,
We'll
no.
get through it.
And this is it. Like, I know that in the moment when you're in that really raw, thick desperation, desperate state, you're crying, your emotions are all over the place, and then you're probably swearing at us like, fuck you, this is terrible. Yes, I know it's terrible. I've been there myself, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. You've just got to get out of your mind and this is the hardest part, is developing that trust of self, knowing that you have the power to really create your own reality, to create something. And the things that are uncomfortable in your life at the moment, whether it's an eviction, whether it's an illness, these things are there for you to be able to move past them. For an awakening purpose. They're there for a purpose. I didn't really want to say it, but it is true. They are there for a purpose. And you can either go the traditional route or you can go the new way. And let's face it, energy medicine and stuff like that has actually been around since the dawn of time. We've been doing this work since Lemuria.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing. Like, how people can heal themselves, and how many people are out there currently at the moment that are doing it, that are seeing energy healers, that are going out and you know understanding that, yes, okay, this is my awakening, this is what I came into this realm and reality at this time and space for, is for my awakening and my realization. But the awakening, unfortunately, not is like, I want to say, it's not all, glitter and unicorns. It's freaking dragons and slaying demons, because that's literally what you're doing. You're slaying the demon within yourself that has kept you locked and kept you separate from your divine being, your limitless being, who is a conscious creator and who can create worlds. And if you think, but it's when we constantly get into those loopy thoughts that get us locked into the gravity, which keeps on perpetuating the suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Little tip and trick. If I notice a certain type of negative mindset or things that I'm saying, I literally envision all those words or like the certain, like, what is this energy of everything that I'm witnessing right now? What does it look like? And right now I'm being shown to offer, like, oh, this looks like a donut or a circle, but it's like a cloud. It's like a dark cloud, you know? And I literally just like cut it, and I know it just kind of goes, or just whatever visualization. Visualizations like really help. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
and
they
the body
do.
movement too, even with my hands, like it's just that's what works for me. Um, but I've had clients randomly start doing shit like this when I'm doing energy work on them, on their whomever, children, whether that be a fur babe or an actual like human child, like they'll start doing stuff too. And I'm like, you are remembering, yes, like
Because like it's easy to brush yourself off of the energy and you
yes,
know,
yes, yeah,
and for me it's like I call the energy in and then I love doing the Care Bear stare. It's like call my energy in, shine my energy out.
yes, yes. I really we've talked about like Care Bears and Rainbow Bright briefly, and like
Yeah.
there were some magical things in those shows, and I was like, oh, what is this? I know this some way, somehow. And yeah, there are certain things in like TVs or movies where I get a little bit of like a not a trigger, it's an opposite. It is this like realization that like
Station.
I do that
It's a knowing.
too. It's a knowing that there is a magic that is being shown in this like kids cartoon creation or movie or whatever, and it's like, oh, and then I start to really like expand with it and play with it a little bit, and it just and there are things I've been doing again with energetics um that I just have in me, and then it turns out it's like when you're getting attuned to like the modality of Reiki at a certain stage, and I'm like, oh, you're taught it, but I've already been doing it. And then there's like other healing modalities that I've either sat in a class or been in the class, and I'm like, oh, I'm already doing this. And it's not
Yeah.
me being like this, like, oh, I'm already doing that. Why am I here? It was like, oh, my soul knows this already. And I'm over here taking a class to get a certification or not. But it's like,
It's
even
like
with that, I'm
even
like,
with I'm like, I don't
I don't deal
yeah.
with certifications and all of that stuff. Like, it's just me and my
Yeah, it's
soul that has
exactly
been
it.
serving me
I mean,
and
look,
bringing
it's
me
like
this
I've got
wisdom.
yeah, and it's like I've got my wealth walk method now, which is completely downloaded from Soul. And that's also just pure energy work. It's emotional release and it's phenomenal, but it's not something I want people to get certified in because I'm sure somebody else is getting the download as well. I mean, this is something that has our soul just knows this is our natural state of being. We are energetical beings. We came here for conscious creation and allowing our energy to serve us and allowing the abundance in. And um, another great thing to do is when you are like trapped in the gravity and the groundhog day and the dark night of the soul, is listen to music. For me, I've been loving the piano guys because there's no words. It's just like modern modern classic, but there's something about the resonance and the frequency that really shifts the energy in me that like literally and it's phenomenal. Like even when I'm cleaning now, I put the piano guys on. I don't know why I love them. And Hauser, he's a cello player, but he's
I was just gonna say, there's someone on different music apps, and he, I believe it's the cello and also piano. He he writes music and then obviously records both of those instruments together. And those two instruments have always hit home for me, even as a kid. I was the kid that listened to classical music. I like to be out in the woods. I like to do out of the norm things. Like, what are most kids my age doing? I did some of the things that most kids my age did, but then I had these like really like old soul quirks where I'm like listening to classical music. There's a lot of stimulation out there.
Mm.
I've even realized there are certain things that I did a year ago that I don't find myself reaching to do anymore or even having the pull to do. And I think a lot of people are afraid to like give up their own way of life and whatnot. And it's like, it's okay if you just don't want to watch TV anymore, listen to normal music or, and I have I have mainstream artists that I do listen to, but I don't get into their life. I don't get into who they are. I'm just like looking at it as just like a random person in the world that's creating music and they might have a lot of help or they just might be all them, whether they're mainstream or not. But okay,
Yeah.
I like this music. It's resonating with me. I've been, yeah, dancing a lot more, stuff like that too. Music is profound.
Um,
Or have nothing, just do silence.
exactly. Or sleep. Pattern
Yeah.
disrupt with sleep. That's also a very good thing. And also that, like, the body will tell you when you need sleep. It's like you go down for a 20-minute nap and next thing you wake up, it's like 12 hours later.
Happened to me the other night. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to bed. And then I slept through all the sounds, all the alarms, all the everything. And I needed it. And thank God there wasn't anything like really serious that I had to go to or be at or stuff. Like, I did have things scheduled, but like, and that's another thing. I'm in a place now where it's like there are certain things where I'm not giving them all of my power and all like normally I've been like, oh my God, I missed that appointment and blah, 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 blah. And you have to reschedule. And then is there a fine? And, and it's just, I just don't deal with that anymore.
No, there's no point. And also, like, I understand that, like, I haven't owned a TV for like 12 years. I don't watch the news. I
Mm.
do like my series, but I don't get engaged with it all the time. Um, I don't, I like eating organic foods. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't engage with anymore because I realize that it's not part of me anymore. I mean, I do like a takeaway every now and then, but I wouldn't get McDonald's. But maybe once in a blue moon as to remind myself why I don't get McDonald's.
Yeah, I haven't eaten like the fast food or whatever. Oh my gosh, in years, years, years. But I remember telling people that I were connected to, yeah, I'm just not doing that. And they'd still, some way, somehow give me like a gift card for a certain place or like buy things for, let's say there's a friendly event going on and they buy some things from one of those places for a few people and they'd like, but there was this energy of like, well, I'm still gonna try and get Ashley to stay in this way and like she needs to continue eating because it unsettled that person. Like
Yeah.
everything they ever knew
Ew.
went to shit because I just decided that that wasn't for me anymore. Like this is how some people you're around act and it's just like you talked about early in the beginning, like these people that are going to be like triggered or feel uneasy by you doing better for yourself or changing, like that's on them.
Yeah.
And
It
I
is on
just
them.
and I couldn't feel bad being like, I'm not going to eat this because I know
It's
what it's
like
going to make my body feel like or whatever. And they would just get all, they took it
you know,
personally. So
this
just
is
want to
what
let
I do.
people
Would you
know
like
that.
a tissue for your
I
issue?
love that. Yeah, get saucy, get spicy with these people. Yeah. No, I've, especially like, I don't know.
I mean, I
years
know that I've
ago.
lost a lot of friends recently, especially since I've like really stepped up and has said, okay, right, I'm not going to distract myself anymore from my purpose. I'm going to go all in on, the energy work and into being the master that I'm here to be and into my own realization. Um, I have lost a lot of friends, but I've also gained some really great people. So, and then I realized that I had to lose these people because I'm just not of that vibration. I'm not of that caliber. They were just holding me back and they didn't want what's best for me. And the only person, and which also made me realize that the only person that I need is myself. Because when I was going through quite a bit of a difficult time and I kept on getting hit with no's, 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 and I was like, right, this has to be done. I have to do it for myself. And then it's stepping into the power and allowing the energy to serve and to really lift you because the energy can. Once you start allowing your energy to serve you, and then it brings us back to the allowing. Allow your dark nights of the soul. Sit with those uncomfortable feelings. Honor them. Don't bypass them either.
It's just
Sit
gonna
with the shame.
come
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. Sit with the shame. Sit with the guilt. And then let it go. Bath. Breathe, allow, receive, and flow. Bath it out. Breathe into it. Allow the wisdom. Receive the energy and flow from it.
Right. I mean, we may have been in certain situations or experiences that we didn't like, we didn't act up to par, whatever the case. Um, and we feel shame or guilt because of it. And it's like, yeah, you're not a bad person. You can let that go. Like you're in a different place. You're, in a new mindset. You're maturing. You're older now. Like stuff like that. Also, there may be cases where people like we're saying these words and it like gaslighting or dare I say attacking you to put the blame on you versus them where the real nitty gritty needs to like be looked at and you're just maybe you were a little kid and then you somehow started to feel shame or guilt for certain behaviors you did that an adult around you just couldn't comprehend and couldn't work with and be around like it wasn't your fault. So as an adult you might be able to sit with those emotions of shame and finally like be like I'm forgiving myself for having a certain way of my personality, like that's me and it's okay to be me. The discrepancies and the disgruntledness was on that person and they can deal with that. I'm giving that back. They can deal with that. I'm
Yeah,
just going to recollect and re-witness myself as the truth that I am in a more positive and loving sense, forgiving sense, and just live and thrive and be happy, you know? Um, and it's interesting, kind of, it doesn't matter, but it's sometimes interesting when you heal something that's connected to another person and then you actually hear things or are still connected to this person and you see them having to like maybe relive these moments with another person or not, like when they haven't had to in a while because you were holding on to that energy.
yeah,
You letting go is allowing others to take responsibility for their actions in a sense. So we can also look at it as that way too. I think that's helpful for some who are really sensitive and feel a lot and really weren't doing anything wrong.
exactly. And who take a lot of stuff on which isn't even theirs to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because when people tend to put you down or badmouth you, it really has got nothing to do with you. It's their insecurities, it's their perception. They might feel threatened, so it's easier to lash out at you. And then, being a sensitive being, you take that on. Just let it go, hand it all up to soul. What I like to do when it's not mine, I'm just like, I triple A that, abandon, abolish, and annihilate, send it back to sender. Thank you. It's not mine. But when it's my stuff, send it to soul for wisdom. Be transmuted into wisdom, because also we tend to hold on to things and hold on to our grief and hold on to our pain. And now this is what the awakening is. The awakening is that you don't need to hold on to this pain, this trauma, this suffering, the sacrifice. And this is all old energy. And we're moving into the new energies. And in the new energy, there is no time for scarcity or suffering, because it is just gorgeous, audacious abundance. And especially the year of the dragon. What did we say it was? I wrote the notes down. It's about progress, abundance, creative ideas, expansion, and to wear yellow and decorate with blue. And look, I've got a nice blue leather sofa from Italy.
I was gonna. Oh, and I actually have like navy blue and yellow in this nice little thing. Very interesting. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
yellow
I
on
think
my pictures up. Yeah. Oh, and then my angel wings. Excuse the mess, but let me show you. That's my angel wings are blue and yellow, or my
Ooh,
angel wing.
I love
My
that.
desk is my desk is a bit of a mess at the moment because I'm spring cleaning.
I was gonna say, yes. And I need to bring this up. We've been discussing that we can feel and smell, and just we're witnessing certain little snippets of spring in the air. You and I both have just been like, we need to clean. It's just like and like me dealing with the head cold, I was sleeping, doing whatever work I needed to do. And then, like, even though I was feeling so lethargic at times and like having these sleeping, like chunks of sleep, I would just get up and bust through like the bullshit in this home. And I
Yeah.
appreciate everything, but some, just like parts of my personality or being that were not truly me, and I'm letting go. Like, same thing in this home, like clearing it out.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, especially for us, this is now our time. We are We've done the work. We're coming into our realization. We really letting our energy serve us now. The abundance is flowing in. It's delicious. I still can't wait to go get a curry.
Oh my gosh, right. Yes. Oh my God. And it's really funny
And
because I was just looking in my cupboard and I have like this pre-made curry that I had gotten. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait to make that tonight. Like, so we're flowing with the curry.
I just want to have a nice chicken jalfrezi and get some naan bread and go get a takeaway, because I've got a beautiful curry shop, literally a curry restaurant, like 20 seconds away from where I am. And all those juicy
I
spices
was gonna
and
say the spice. Oh, the spices. Indian spices, Asian spices.
mm,
Oh, feed my soul. Yes.
yeah. And like this is also the beautiful thing about the dark night of the soul, because when you start coming out of it, you start appreciating things more. Life takes on a completely different beauty. You start seeing things from a different perspective and from different eyes, and you raise your awareness, your consciousness is raised, and like things that you would walk down the road and you would start noticing trees and flowers and the real beauty that you're surrounded with as part of the once you start coming out of the awakening. And it's it's such a beautiful experience. And I just want to say to all the people, like, I know that it's tough at the moment, but do know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you will get through it. Don't give up now. And
You
just sit
know,
with those feelings.
right? Like one of the things that ever since I was a little child, I knew I had big plans that were bigger than me. It was just in my body, blood, being, soul, everything. And regardless of what I went through and the emotions I felt in a the main first chunk of my life. And then I thought that was intense. The dark night of the soul, like you're tired and you're hungry for more life and you're just like, what is this? And you don't want to be here anymore. And it's literally like taking it moment by moment, day by day. I had moments that were like pristine and spectacular, and then literally 2 seconds later I'm on the floor, like just being like, what is this now that yeah, it was like, so it's like craziness, but you're not crazy. It's just all of the craziness of the world just trying to come out of you so you can finally shine and be brilliant. You have all of these rocks, like energy rocks will, like, it's like someone just piled rocks and dirt and mold on you. I don't know why they
Yeah,
want me to
it
say
does.
mold.
And
Clearing it
and
out.
especially if people feel like that they're drowning, because I get this feeling like I'm really like holding my breath. I get this feeling that there's somebody who's watching this that literally feels like they're drowning, and that no matter what they do, that they keep on trying to come up for air, but they keep on being sucked back down into the gravity and into the density and into the thickness. Know that your breath and that you will get out of it. You've just got to start trusting yourself a lot more. Sit with those uncomfortable feelings and know that you have the ability to outcreate and to get on top of the water and float and look up at the stars. Don't get caught up. Don't let the water, like, there's that analogy. It's the water that gets into the boat that makes it sink.
Mm.
So, it's what I'm getting, and it's like you've got to stop struggling. You've got to stop battling yourself, and you've just got to flow with the river, and then you'll be able to come up and take a breath. Just allow things to unravel, so that once everything has unraveled, then you've got the power to put everything back together again into a beautiful tapestry of your own making.
Yes.
But I literally just had this image of somebody like feel like they were drowning and they couldn't breathe, and that heavy emotional state where it's just like I just can't take anymore.
I laughed a minute ago because what you were saying, I was like, I've been there. I know that feeling all too well. And, there's after you're out of it and you've processed it, and I'm grateful for it. So now it's like all I can do is laugh and just
But you
like
see the wisdom in it.
yeah,
You
so
like
much.
even there are wisdom in these terrible traumatic times. There is wisdom there, and it's generally a reminder to tap into your own self, tap into your own strength, and have trust. And this is it. You've got to have unwavering trust in yourself and in your own creative ability, and just allow your energy to serve you.
You said it. I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful time to end this wonderful video.
Yes.
And we might do another one on Wednesday. Yep.
There'll be one soon. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to start getting a few people on that we will be interviewing. We're going to have get a nice little bit of a schedule going now that we are fully relaxed into doing these. We're going to do lots more. So don't forget to like, subscribe. And yeah, if you want to work with us, our links are in the channel bio and stuff like that. If not, we will see you next time, beautiful people. Remember, stop struggling, bath, breathe, allow, receive, and flow. And happy Year of the Dragon.
Yes. Happy Year of the Dragon. Shine.
And we are ending and recording.